In this video, we're going to look at one of Lightroom's most powerful features, the adjustment brush found in the adjustment panel. So I'm under the histogram up here in the right-hand panel, and you can see the adjustment brush icon. I can select it by clicking on it, or I can just hit the K key. Now, many of these sliders are going to look familiar from the basic panel and other panels in Lightroom. But the fact is, with the adjustment brush, we can paint the effect in locally. In other controls of Lightroom, they're global, but this can be locally applied. Now I'm going to start off by desaturating part of this image. I don't want the whole image desaturated, I just want part of it. So under Effect, I'm going to choose Saturation, and you can see now this saturation slider, I can move it myself, but it's already moved all the way down to the -100, which means it'll desaturate whatever I paint over. I'm going to select brush A, and the nice thing about this is you can actually have two brushes with different sizes and different characteristics. So you can toggle back and forth by just hitting the slash key. And I can change the size of the brush either here with the slider or directly on the image itself with my mouse wheel. Now, as far as feathering goes, you can see what happens when I move the feather slider. I change the feathering characteristic of the brush. I'll just keep it right about there. And then the flow. And the flow controls the rate of the application of the adjustment. And then density controls the amount of the transparency in the stroke. And I'm going to leave Auto Mask deselected right now. I'll show you what that does shortly. All right, so I'm going to come over here now into the preview area, and I have saturation set to 0. I've got my brush very large because I'm going to desaturate a lot of the image. So I'm just going to start painting. It's just like a paintbrush, and I'm working on the outer parts of the image here, and you can see the colors disappearing as I paint over it. Now, if I want to see exactly what's happening, I can see that it's working, it's desaturating. But if I want to see better where the mask is covering, I can either hold my cursor over the pin, and this is an active pin. You can tell by the little black dot. You can have multiple pins, multiple adjustments, but only one can be active at a time, and that's designated with the little black dot. Okay, so this overlay, this mask now shows me where I've painted. Now, if I want that on all the time, I come down here in the toolbar and just select this little box, and now the mask overlay will be on all the time as I paint. If you want to change the color of that mask, hold down the Shift key and hit the O key, and you can cycle through various colors for the mask. I'll just leave it at red. Actually, I can tell what I'm painting over because the color's being removed, so I'm going to get rid of that mask. It's actually bothering me. I'll hit the O key, which will remove it. And I'll just start up here in the sky area and desaturate. And I'm using a very big brush, but when I get ready to come in closer to the model, I want to switch to a smaller brush. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to create another brush, B, and I'm going to make it smaller. I want it to feather still. And I want this brush to have Auto Mask. And what Auto Mask is going to do is it confines the brush strokes to areas of similar color. So I have a little more control. So I have the B brush ready to go. And as I said earlier, using the slash key, you can toggle between the A and B brushes. So let me go ahead and go to the B brush. And it's a little bit smaller, so I can come in here and desaturate. Now, if I want to, I can enlarge a little bit, maybe go to 1:1. I'm holding down the space key so I can drag and get in closer. And I can desaturate this area in here, just painting away. I could probably increase the size of that brush a little bit so I could go a little bit quicker. But watch what happens as I get close to the edge here. Even though I'm slipping my brush over, because I have Auto Mask selected, it's not putting the mask onto the model's shoulder. And the same up here. It's confining it to the blue sky. Okay, I could go through here. In fact, I'm going to increase the size of this brush a little bit. so I can speed up the process. I may not be as precise, but I can go a little bit faster. Now, if I do spill over, like I just did there, all you have to do is hold down the Option or Alt key, and you can see it turns to the minus sign, and I can now undo that, the effect that I just painted in over the umbrella. So I'll just keep painting away until I've got this sufficiently desaturated where I want to be desaturated. I'm going to go to the A brush and go back down to Fit. So what I can also do, I don't only have to work with saturation, I can change the exposure values here, and it's only going to change the exposure values to the areas that I have masked. And I can change highlight. You can see I can do a lot of things here, and it's only doing it to the area that I've painted over. All right, so now I get the effect I want with that particular pen. Now I want to come over and work with another area. So I need to select New this time, and I'm going to now work with the saturation in the umbrella. This time I want the saturation increased. Let's go to the other brush. I'll hit the slash key again because I want auto mask on. Yeah, I'll shrink that down a little bit. Okay, so now I'm just saturating that umbrella even more. There's so many things I could keep doing, but I'm going to try to cut this a little bit short. I've got only two areas that I'm working with now. One is designated as active with the little black dot in it. And I can go over here and at any time change any of these settings. And if I want to now start working on the other area again, I need to just click there, and now the other adjustment is active, and I can come back at any time and work with it. In fact, what I think I'll do is show you how I can add a color to that desaturated area. I've made sure it's now selected. This one's not, but this one is. And I'll select Color. And let's go ahead and just pick a warm kind of a yellow color there. Okay, so now we've tinted just that area, only that area where we've painted the desaturation into. Okay, so let me move to another image now, this apple. I've shown in other videos how to soften skin selectively or locally with the adjustment brush. I want to show you something using an apple instead of someone's face, but I want to show you an effect called Soften Skin. We can use that on anything to soften it. What really it is a negative clarity. See, the clarity slider's moved all the way to the left there. I'm going to put the sharpness back down here to 0. And I'm not sure that you're aware that you can actually apply multiple layers of adjustments. So let me show you what I mean. So I'm going to start off here, and I'm going to paint in a negative clarity into this apple. So everything else is nice and sharp and crisp, but now the apple's getting softer. But at some point, I've reached the maximum amount of softening I can do with negative clarity set at 100. Well, watch what happens when I create a new pen and I start painting again using negative clarity. You see, now it's even getting softer. I can keep adding layer upon layer upon layer until I get it. One more. I'll do one more. So now I'll have three pins in there, 3 adjustments, 3 times as much negative clarity. It's just a little trick if you really want to go into that soft, glowy look. Okay, so this is one of the more powerful, one of the more complex features of Lightroom, but as you can see, it is the one that can really make your images very special.